Hey y'all, what's good? I'm back. Big and Tylee's here. Thank you for joining me yet again. Today's topic is shadow work. I told y'all I was going to do it, and I feel like everybody wants to know, like, how do I do shadow work? What is shadow work? What are you talking about? What is my shadow? So we're gonna get into it right now. So what is your shadow? First, we have to talk a little bit about your ego and understanding that your shadow is a part of your ego. I personally like psychology. When I studied that in college, Sigmund Freud it was very interesting to me because, like, why not get to know how your mind works and why we do what we do, why we get depressed or sad or why we're triggered or any of that stuff. This is part of psychology and how your mind works. So shadow work is really about changing your mind, fixing the thoughts that you have that are no longer serving you. And it's a part of your ego. It's not the ego. I had previously said that shadow was equivalent to the ego, but it's not. It's actually a part of your ego. So what is your shadow? It's the part of you that you hide. So from birth, you were fine. Like, you were a happy little child, just running around, no cares in the world. But as you grew, depending on where you were located and your family, surroundings, schools you went to, all of that all determined traits and such that you picked up that may not really work for you. Like, for example, you could be very religious, but it's because you grew up with religious parents. And now you're still holding on to that, but it may not be serving you anymore. Your shadow is like everything that you're ashamed of, or things that you hide and maybe only you know deep down inside. That could be your sexuality, sexual experiences. That could be habits, good or bad. It's just a lot of things about yourself that you feel like if it got out or if people knew, they wouldn't like you. And that's really not the truth, because we're the only ones holding ourselves back. When you actually become genuinely who you are, you won't care about who doesn't like you, because who's for you is who's for you, and who's not for you isn't for you. So the shadow, it really will hold you back if you're not working on your shadow. So yeah, your shadow is the other side of yourself, the dark side of yourself, all the dark things, all the taboo things, all the things that society told you were not good or bad or whatever. That's part of your shadow. It also includes things that you do, like I said, that are not serving you. Like, maybe you're a habitual liar, or maybe you're really jealous and envious. Maybe you have no patience, or you're very short-tempered. All of those things make up your shadow. You could be a violent person, like fly off the handle and be ready to fight people. Like, you want to cut people or shoot people. That's part of your shadow. And again, I want you to understand that recognizing your shadow, it does not make you a bad person. Our traumas and the things that we've been through do not make us bad. It's just that we need to recognize what does not work for us, what keeps us depressed, sad, angry. All of those things is why you want to do shadow work. And I'll get into that in a minute. When and where should you do shadow work? Basically, anytime you're triggered. Triggers are when you're around someone or something and all of a sudden you're impatient or you're pissed off. It's like, if you go around somebody and they always make you mad, that person kind of has control over you because they piss you off. And the reason for shadow work is to make sure that no one else has control over your emotions. Once you start doing your shadow work and changing your mind and realizing some of your shadows are okay to embrace and some of them need to be changed, then you stop giving away control to people. Like, you stop being triggered by people. So You want to do shadow work anytime you're triggered, angry, sad, depressed. That's a good time to figure out why you feel the way that you do. And again, this is about changing your mind. Shadow work is all mental. It's mental. And that's the work that you have to do, is waking up every day and saying, okay, well, I know I'm a liar, but today I'm going to work on not lying. And then even if you do lie, then you can catch yourself and be like, you know what, I'm lying. I'm just playing. That ain't even true. That's the work. That's you actively changing the perspective, changing your mind and your outcome on the bad things, I guess. I don't want to say bad, but yeah, changing your mind. It's best to do it alone, I would suggest. Like, this is you. This is a personal thing. So this is the where, or no, this is the when. The where is like anytime, but the when is when you're alone. It's a time for you to, go into a state of solitude, into deep introspection, meditation, to figure it out. So you want to do it when you're alone. Shadow work, I mean, if you ask people like to help you, I don't really feel like they would be objective without any biases. And it's like, no one knows you more than you know you. So you don't really need to go to anybody to ask them, like, hey, what do you think my flaws are? Because I'm doing shadow work. There's no need for that. Because if you go into deep introspection and you start examining why you behave the way that you do, when you do, you'll answer the questions for yourself. Why is shadow work necessary? Because you cannot fix what you do, you're not looking at. And a lot of us, even myself, for example, me feeling like I'm connected to God and like I'm an earth angel and all of that, I know that I have been a good person most of my life. I've been treating people well and giving love and trying to just be a good person, treat people how I want to be treated. That didn't mean that I didn't have shadows. And so I was a little naive in thinking that I didn't have to do any serious shadow work. But 3 years ago, my spirit guides told me that was so far from the truth. Like, you're not perfect, boo. You have flaws just like everybody else. When you're born into this world and then you grow up, you have traumas you need to heal. You have hurts that you need to heal. There are broken parts of you that you need to fix. So to think that you don't need to do any shadow work or there's nothing wrong with you, guess what? That's not true. We all need to do some shadow work. We all need to do healing. I don't care if you grew up in the best household and you didn't struggle or anything like that. There are things about your personality that are not serving you, that are hindering you from a fulfilling life or from growing into a better person for yourself. And that is why shadow work is necessary. You have to know and recognize what's broken. Shadow work is self-healing. Like I said, the traumas and the things that you're ashamed of, because those are the things that are hidden. This is you changing what you don't like or what you're hiding. And once you get thoroughly through shadow work, you'll start to accept yourself. You'll start to feel like, I don't care if people know this, and that about myself. This is what makes me me. This was what makes me unique and different. And again, the things that you don't like and that you're hiding, you can change those and fix those things so that you don't have to be ashamed of them and they're not hiding anymore, because guess what? You've repaired them. You fixed them. There's nothing wrong there. How you want to do shadow work. And this is the most imperative part of shadow work. You have to be very attentive to your triggers. What pisses you off, what makes you sad, what hurts you, breaks your heart, what puts you in a depressing state of mind. Figure it out. Like, there is a root to every emotion that we have, every trigger that we have. There's a root cause to it. So if you're impatient, for me, finding out that I'm impatient, when I looked at the root of my impatience, it came from my childhood. Most of our shadow traits, they come from our childhood, and it come from things that we went through that children really shouldn't go through, but hey, we all did go through because of the society we live in. They wanted us to be traumatized, they wanted us to grow up in fear, and it worked. A lot of us are walking around in fear for our lives, like in depression and all of that. But you want to pay attention, like I was saying, and get to the root. So I was using an example of my patience. It was childhood trauma. I was realizing that I move fast, and a lot of times I don't take my time. So I've been working on being present, and that was the root to my impatience, is I wasn't being present. I was moving towards the future all the time, or living in the past all the time. I was either in the past, worried about who hurt me and what somebody did to me, what somebody said to me, or I was looking at, well, you know, I'll get this later and I'll be able to move and I'll get this job and da-da-da-da. So I'm either living in the past or I'm living in the future. Not physically being present kept me impatient because, yeah, I'm always looking for what's coming and letting myself down if it didn't come. So I found out the root of my impatience was I needed to work on being more present and to slow things down, to calm down, to not feel like I had to do everything like at one time or say everything in one like sitting. There's something I'm still working on, still feeling like I didn't say everything or I didn't get everything out. Shadow work is going to be a lifelong thing for you. I'm telling you that now. We're always going to be working on our shadows. We're going to be working on what triggers us. We're going to be consistently working on healing the things that happen to us as children. And I don't know about you, but a lot happened in my childhood that I had to heal, and I'm still healing. Healing is like, imagine yourself being an onion, and that you're, as an onion, you're very bruised and all of that. You know, when you get an onion from the store, you peel back the regular skin, but then there might be a dark spot on it or whatever, so you peel another layer, whatever. Healing is like that. And just when you think you've healed one thing, Spirit will come back around and show you there's another layer to that thing that you need to heal. So there's a root to your shadow. And this is how you do your shadow work. You find the root cause to what is triggering you, what is causing you to be sad or any of that. You want to tell yourself how you can improve. You want to, like I said, actively every day wake up and say, if we're healing something like being a habitual liar. Now, this is just an example, but if you're actively trying to not be a liar anymore, well, yeah, you gotta wake up in the morning and say, today is gonna be a better day. I'm not gonna lie as much as I used to. And then when you catch yourself about to lie, change it. Change the scenario in your head and change it around in your life. It is said that to break a habit, you just need to consistently do something different for 7 days straight. And then it becomes a new habit, a better habit. So that's a week. That's not a lot of time for you to actively be working on it. And then you'll realize, okay, I'm actually doing better. I ain't lying as much as I was lying, right? So that's the how. The how is paying attention to what triggers you. When you get sad, when you get mad, when your baby mama come around and you just ready to like knock her head off or whatever. It's like, whoa, what is it about me that's making me feel like that? Shadow work is where you stop pointing the finger at everybody else outside of you and you take accountability for you. You start to take everything that happens, arguments, altercations, people ghosting you, all of that, and you take it and you look at yourself and you figure out why you acted the way you acted, why you reacted the way you reacted, and why you felt the way you felt after that thing happened or that person did that to you. It's about accountability. That is important in shadow, in spirituality, period. Accountability. You got to be accountable. You cannot walk around and act like somebody's doing something to you all the time, because it's your life. You're choosing to let these people in, so there's a responsibility on your behalf too. Otherwise, those are people you need to start cutting off, and then you won't be triggered. Now, we'll talk about that in another video, boundaries. So yeah, that's how you improve it. You change your mind. How is getting to the root of it and taking accountability, looking at all of life's tests, because life is one big test for your soul, for you to grow, find out what it is you're here to do that thing, and learn from everything and everyone around you. This is what we were supposed to be doing a long time ago. We all should have been doing shadow. As a matter of fact, it should have been taught to us in our schools. We should have got to the point where we had to do such deep healing, but it happened because of the society that we were raised in. Now, hopefully we can start teaching our children so that they're not so traumatized that they grow up being miserable adults like us. And I'm really working with my daughter on that, because I don't want her to have to grow up and be like, I got to do all this healing. I went through all this when I was a kid. Damn, why didn't my mom tell me about it? Now, I'm telling her now. If you got kids and you're doing healing, don't be afraid to share what you're learning about spirituality. I'm telling you, at first I was feeling like she's a kid. What is she going to think, or what is she going to, I didn't think I needed to share it. But Spirit told me that if your child comes to you and asks you questions about what you're doing, they're ready to learn. So, okay, into tools for shadow work. What tools do you need? This is also important. Write it down. Get a journal, a notebook, a diary. I know a lot of guys that I've talked to, they like to just text themselves. For me, I did do that. I was journaling. I have a journal. And I was also texting myself, channeled messages, dreams, ideas I was getting from Spirit and all of that. And then I accidentally deleted the whole thread. And I cried, y'all. I did, because that was a lot of substantial information that I needed that I lost. And I can't refer back to it. So I went back to the old-fashioned way of journaling. This is something that I keep right next to my bed, because again, I channel messages, I have visions and vivid dreams and things. So if I want to write down my dreams, I'm waking up first thing, and even in the middle of the night, I'm waking up writing down what I'm dreaming about or what has come to mind, what has triggered me. Shadow work, you have to write it down. You really do, because I cannot stress to you how writing down your thoughts, even when you don't feel like it, will help you to find the root. It will help you to go into introspection and really look at why you do what you do. When you start to take accountability and you're honest with yourself and you're writing it down, this is just me speaking from experience. When I write some things down I don't want to write, I don't want to journal, the Spirit's like, if you don't do it, you're going to be mad at yourself. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm doing it. And I start writing, and it's like, dang, I'm happy that I did this, because I figured shit out as I was writing it. And it's like, I got an epiphany, things started coming in, I was channeling more, more ideas came in as I'm writing about my shadows, writing about what I want to fix. Clarity starts to come. So you have to, if you're doing the shadow work, you have to, sorry y'all, I just dropped my little card. This is part of my art, but I write on the back all the notes for, each video. But you have to write it out. Write, write, write. Write until you need a new book, until you get used to it, until your hand hurts, until you're tired of it, but still do that thing. Do the damn thing. I'm telling you, it works. If you want to know how to start healing, you want to know how to get out of depression, you want to know how to stop being angry and fighting everybody in your family, this is necessary. Shadow work is like spirituality 101. This is like the first thing that I learned that I needed to do when I was like, okay, I'm going deep in to find God in me and find my life purpose. You got to do shadow work. You got to change the things that were programmed into your ego that tell you something is wrong with you, something is broken in you, something is just like evil in you. I want you to know, a lot of us think that we're evil, or we have these demons and we're ashamed of so many things. But again, that's what this world has put into us. So spirituality is a lot about unlearning. Even though there's so many topics in spirituality that you could learn about, there's energy, crystals, tarot reading, and psychics, and quantum physics, and metaphysics, and hoodoo, and voodoo, and all that stuff is new stuff that you need to learn. But what about the stuff that you learned that was a lie, that's not true to who you are? This world and our society has been lying to us for a long time, y'all. And the point of shadow work is to deprogram all of that shit that they fed to us, making us feel like we gotta run around here and be in fear, run like a rat on a wheel. Like, we're in a cycle for a reason, because we didn't know that we needed to break out of that cycle. We didn't know we needed to heal. We didn't know that we needed to go deep in and find the root of why we do what we do. It's very important that you do shadow work. It's important that you keep a journal. I don't care if you write it on Post-its, whatever you feel like you can do. If you want to get a voice recorder because you don't like writing, or you got arthritis, do something so that you can reflect on it, and that while you're talking, or while you're thinking, while you're writing, your mind shows you more things that you can work on, that you can heal. Because it will come to you, I promise you. Your guides will help you see what it is that you need to heal. When you start asking the questions about healing, it will. Your guides will show you that. So yeah, I just wanted to tell y'all about shadow work for the most part. But I do want to add something to that, because I gave y'all like the who, what, when, where, why, which is what I always do for the topics. But I want to speak on demons and angels, just a little bit here when it comes to shadow work, because I have talked about how I embrace my demons, which is basically a metaphor for your shadows. Again, our shadows make us feel like we're evil, we're bad, and if people knew about those things, people would shun us and be like, I'm not messing with her because she weird. She do weird stuff like da da da. Your demons, they are your demons. They haunt you because they are things that need to be healed. Those demons will become your friends once you embrace what your shadows are, and once you accept what your shadows are and start healing them. That's what I mean by I made friends with my demons. You can make friends with your demons too. It's just your shadow, or aspects of your shadow. You can have more than one demon. I have several. I found that I was envious, impatient. I did not take criticism well. There's a lot of things that I felt like was okay because that was protecting me, and I had my guard up, and we shouldn't be living in survival mode, y'all. Shadow work helps you to find peace within you. It helps you to be okay with who you are, to love yourself completely and unconditionally. Until you do shadow work, you will not know love of self. A lot of us run around talking about, I love myself. You might like the way you look. You might like the way you dress, the way you smell, how you are around people or how people interact with you. But deep down inside, when you go home and you're depressed and mad, you're not loving yourself then. So that's not love, because unconditional love is all the time, 24/7. Shadow work helps you to love you, because you're taking accountability and you're accepting every side of you, even the darkest side of you, all your demons. You get to a point where this is who I am. You're going to have to take me how I am, because I have healed, I'm healing, I have accepted my demons. So if you don't like it, get on. But it will bring peace, and it will help you to see, I'm really loving myself. Like, I really love myself. Like, I'm really spending time. I'm okay with being alone. I'm not depressed. I'm not codependent anymore. I'm not looking for love and like all of these other things outside of myself, because you've started to heal. And again, I want y'all to know that healing is a lifelong journey. Once you start doing it, you'll be doing it for the rest of your life. But I think that's basically it. Again, I want y'all to, if you have any questions, drop them in my comments. Feel free to email me any suggestions for topics that you guys are interested in. I'm here to talk with you about all of what I know. And again, I know a lot, so I'm gonna share it all with you. And I'll even do research, if you want a book on things, all of that. Like, I don't have a book that I read on shadow work, but 2 books that I would suggest on people who are just starting their spiritual journey is The Alchemist, and then The Celestine Prophecy. The Alchemist talks about how to change your mind and how to basically alchemize or transmute energy. How to take the bad things in your life and turn it to good. That's also a part of shadow work. Because when you're looking at being triggered, that's a bad thing, right? But when you start changing that, you're actually transmuting energy. You're actually alchemizing. So I know y'all hear that, in the spiritual community about alchemy and about transmutation. That's all it means, is that you are changing your mind. You're changing your perspective, your way of seeing things, and you're seeing a silver lining now. You're finding the silver lining in that storm cloud. You're finding the lesson that you need to learn to move forward and not be so triggered should this thing happen again. I understand that we will have lessons in our life and they will keep coming until we learn our lesson. So I'm going to refer to this being school and me being your teacher, you being a student. If you don't pass the test, you're going to have to take it again and again and again. You might even be left behind. Like, you might have to repeat the whole grade because you keep failing the tests. If you look at your life, and I know you can see it, like, you see cycles. You see, like, I keep choosing the same type of girlfriend, or I keep choosing the same type of dude, or I keep getting caught up in these financial situations or what have you. They're all cycles that you could break out of. But yeah, I'm getting like off the topic. I really wanted to just do shadow work for now, but I want you guys to really let me know if you need anything. Just comment, let me know that you're supporting, and subscribe, share the video. I'm not going to continuously ask to like and subscribe. I can just do this thing because I know that what God is having me do is my calling. So I'm not really concerned about people disliking it or leaving bad comments, sending me the evil eye. I don't really care. I mean, if you do it, you do it. But that's to your detriment because it's coming back to you. So until next time, I love you. Take care.